Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Big Money Show, brought to you by the team of Big Financial Services. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, and I'm joined by the president, Glenn Cummings. We have an important show for you today. The title of today's episode is Zero is the Hero, Winning by Not Losing. Now, here's the reality. Most of us can't remember what we had for lunch yesterday, but I bet we can all remember where we were in 2008 when a lot of folks watched their 401ks become 201ks. And here's the devastating reality. When you are depending on what you have accumulated in your retirement accounts to last you for the rest of your life, how can you protect those precious amounts against market volatility? Well, that's what Glenn and I are going to be talking about today and introduce you to the hero that can help you protect your hard-earned wealth. Glenn, my friend, are you ready?
Let's go, Kristen. I'm so excited.
Yes.
Here's the thing that is really concerning to me, right? Is that over the last few years, many folks have all of their money in what I call the largest casino, which is the stock market, right? And a lot of people out there say, well, Glenn, over time, the markets always do good. And that's true to a certain extent. But recently, with some of this volatility, with some of these things going on, if it's the change of a president, if it's tariffs, if it's wars, all kinds of things are going on. And there's really only one little type of disaster or anything that can cause the markets to go down. And that's the last thing you want to have when you're close to your retirement. Because that amount of money is going to be what's going to be determining your income, your lifestyle, right? So many people don't know how to step away from the blackjack table, which is their life savings in the markets, right? They don't know how to step away from it. They don't know that there's other tools that could be available, right? And a lot of times there's folks out there that say, oh, Glenn, what is available, So, of course, we can put our money in a money market account. Right. That protects us from market risk, right? But is that going to grow over time? Not really. Is it going to keep up with inflation? Not really, right? Then there's things called annuities, right? And that's a word that a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, annuities, right? There's positives and negatives. There's so many different types of annuities that are available.
Yes.
But one of the ones that I really like, right, is one that has no fees within it. Okay, that's pretty powerful. That gives you the opportunity to earn interest earnings based on an index, right? It could be an S&P 500 index. It could be Morgan Stanley index. There's all kinds of different names, not just saying that one, but there's lots of different names, lots of different indexes we can pick and choose from. But the benefit is most of these contracts have what they call an annual point-to-point, right? Renewal, right? So let's assume that today the S&P 500 is at 4% returns for the year, and all of a sudden a year from now it's up 14, right? These insurance companies can give you a portion of that gain, right? It's called a cap, right? Or a margin or spread. There's a lot of different options inside of these annuity contracts, but they lock in the gains. It's called retaining your gain. So if you have $100,000 and it grows to say $107,000 as an example, that $107,000 is now locked in, and you're never going to lose it unless you pull the money out. Right? So you're not losing it. It's locked in. So if you're at 107,000 and we have another 2008 that happens, you're still at 107.
Yes.
Is that a bad account?
So here's the interesting thing. You
It's common sense.
Earn anything that year, right? You got a zero, but that's why zero is the hero, because you haven't lost.
Yes.
That's the important point to understand.
Yeah. And then, what I've seen in a lot of cases where clients will come in, they'll earn really good interest in 1 year, and all of a sudden the next year, like you said, the markets are down 30, 20, 30, 40% in some cases. We remember COVID. That was not a good few months there.
Right.
We remember the dot-com crash. We remember the 2008 crash. 2025 has been significant volatility, right? But guess what? If I lock in those gains and the market goes down, yeah, you're right. I may not make any interest earnings that year, but I don't lose.
Right.
And you know, what people don't realize is if I lose half of my value, like a 2008, it may take me 5, 6, 7 years to recoup what I've lost.
And that's assuming you're not also withdrawing and pulling money out of the account,
that's,
which
yes.
is what you're doing in retirement, because that's what you're using to generate income for yourself often,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So, you know, you can imagine if you're taking income from your investment accounts and it's all in the world's largest casino, which is a stock market, right? And you were to lose half of its value, you're not going to pull as much income out. You're going to be afraid, you're going to be nervous, you're going to be concerned. So in a lot of cases, what we like to do is we like to create a pension for the client. You've heard of Social Security. Many of you that haven't elected to turn it on or have turned it on, it's a pretty nice thing, right? You get it every month, direct deposited to your account. Many people that are retired that are older folks that really didn't have the 401k options, had pension options, and those folks really live a nice retirement because they're getting a guaranteed monthly check hitting their bank account every month the rest of their lives. It's never going to go away. It's never going to run out. That is called an annuity. It's not a bad thing. So if I use an annuity to provide me protection from market risk, the opportunity for growth, and I can retain my gain, and many of these accounts or contracts also free withdrawal provisions. So I can have access to some of my money if I need it. But if I were to just defer that out for a little bit, continue to let it grow, and I am a markets guy, okay? I believe in the markets, I love the markets, but diversification is key, not having all your eggs in that one basket. And here's another thing that really, really concerns me. Okay? Many times people come in and they say, well, you know, my safety in this investment, right, or my portion of my safety, this diversification that's been sold to me from this financial advisor I'm working with, is I have money in things called bonds, right? Well, if bonds are a debt obligation from the issuer, they're obligated to pay you whatever the interest returns are. If it's 2%, 3%, they're obligated to pay you that. But guess what? If interest rates go up, who's going to buy a 2% bond when I can buy a 5 or 6% bond, right? So I want to get out of that bond. I've got to sell it to someone that is willing to buy it at a lower yield, right? It's called discounting. So I have to discount the value of the bond. That could be a loss of value. With a fixed or fixed indexed annuity, I never lose the value in it based on market conditions, right? So if for some reason the markets go down, I'm in good shape. Okay, now let's talk about the negatives of annuities. In some cases, your money's going to be with the company for a period of time, right? And in some cases, if you liquidate those accounts, you're going to have a penalty.
A surrender charge is what
it's
called,
right? Yeah. So if that's the case, it still doesn't matter if I have that company protecting my principal, right? If I have that company providing me some growth that's going to do pretty well over time. And if I have the opportunity to not lose my principal based on the markets, right? So I look at those types of investments as what I call a bond alternative, and it's something you should consider. Also, the other huge benefit of annuities, especially non-qualified, which are non-IRA annuities, is that they are tax deferred. So I can actually grow my money similar to an IRA and it can get nice and big, and I'm only taxed on the interest earnings when I withdraw them, right? I have a cost basis of what I initially invest, right? Which is never taxed, right? That's pretty good. And then if I take my interest earnings, I'm only taxed on those, but I'm also not forced to take a required minimum distribution that can go up every single year based on my age. That's within IRAs, 401ks, and 403bs. Right? So there's all kinds of strategies that we can use that we're going to share with you, right? That are going to be, in our opinion, in your opinion, the best for you. Because as an independent fiduciary, we're required to offer you what we believe is the best for your situation. And that's why we meet with clients 3, 4, sometimes 5 times, because we want to share every option that's available. We want to give you copies of everything so you can understand it. And that way you're making an informed decision for you and your family. And what's also really great is we have great reviews. You know, you check out our website, you check us out on Google, I think it's all 5-star reviews at this point. That's fantastic. So we are helping folks. We're serving folks.
Yes.
Is an annuity right for you? It may not be at all, right? But it's simply an option. It's simply a tool. It's a diversification that if you're not being shared how it works, or you've got one of those annuities that's not performing that good, you may be out there saying, well, Glenn, it sounds good with what you're offering, but I don't have that kind of annuity. Well, there's some good ones and some that aren't as good. You know, but if you have one of those that's not as good, it's not performing as well, let's review it. Let's take a peek at it, and let's see if there's something better. It's called a replacement. Okay, so we may be able to replace that old annuity contract and put you into one that may provide better opportunity for growth, less fees or no fees at all, right? Bigger withdrawal percentages, bigger income guarantees in the future. Oh, and by the way, there are some contracts right now that have these things called riders that will help with covering your long-term care cost. And many of them have no physicals, no exams, right? And no annual premiums like traditional long-term care insurance, right? But you have to look at the contracts. Every company that's out there has different rules and regulations. You know, one may say, hey, you can't use this long-term care benefit until you've owned this contract for 2 years or 3 years, right? Those are things we need to look at. The other contract may say, hey, this is if you're confined in a nursing home. This one does not require confinement, right? So all of this is sitting down and looking over the opportunities, looking over what's available, the best options available right now, and making decisions that are going to help improve your retirement.
For sure. And that's why there is no substitute for sitting down in the financial planning environment and seeing what tool could potentially be right for you. So if this is intriguing to you, if you would like to learn how you can potentially win by not losing, we encourage you to reach out and schedule your time to come in and get your complimentary written financial plan. Again, this is for no cost, no charge, no obligation. It's simply an invitation to have a conversation with Glenn and the team of Big Financial Services to see how they can help and serve you. That number to call to claim yours is 888-503-7408. Or if you'd rather connect online, simply scan that QR code and that will get you connected as well. We'll be back with more right after this.
How many of you love paying taxes? I don't love paying taxes. Do we believe that right now, with the way things are in the economy, the way things are with our national deficit going up, that taxes are going to go down, or the taxes possibly are going to go up? Do you know what the highest tax rates were from 1932 to 1982? They were close to 70%. I'm not saying we're going to get back there, folks, but we need to look at our retirement savings and realize that many of us are saving in 401ks, IRAs, tax-deferred investments that are going to create huge, massive tax problems for us in the future. If you'd like to reduce those taxes, please give my office a call. We'd love to sit down with you and share with you some great planning tools that could hopefully help you reduce your taxes in the future. Give my office a call today. Did you know Uncle Sam has a say in your retirement withdrawals? Once you hit a certain age, the IRS forces you to take required minimum distributions, also known as RMDs, and every dollar, unfortunately, is taxed. But how much will you owe? Could RMDs push you into a higher tax bracket or even impact your Social Security? Don't guess, folks. Run the numbers with our easy RMD tax calculator. Find out your potential tax hit before you make a move. Go to bigtaxbill.com and find out now.
Well, welcome back to the Big Money Show. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, here with the president of Big Financial Services, Glenn Cummings, and we're so glad that you're joining us today. If you're just tuning in, we've been having an important conversation. The title of today's show is Zero is the Hero, Winning by Not Losing. And Glenn, you did such a great job of explaining how there's some other financial tools out there that can help protect folks' hard-earned wealth from stock market volatility. Before we dive back into that, though, I know we just offered folks the opportunity to call in and receive their complimentary written financial plan from you and the team of Big Financial Services.
Absolutely.
And most times when folks hear something that's complimentary, another word for that is free, they automatically say to themselves, there has to be some kind of catch, right?
Sure.
Because here's the reality. In our industry, I know there's tons of firms in the Tampa Bay area that charge thousands of dollars to have this kind of written financial plan done, yet you do it for free.
Yes.
Why is that?
Well, very simply because many of the financial plans that are out there are all in that large casino. Right? And people
meaning the stock market, if folks are just tuning in, right?
Yes, the largest, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, the largest casino, the stock market, right? When do we stay at the table and keep gambling, and when do we step away from it?
Right.
When do we go for more gains, but then hopefully not lose as much, right? So most of these plans not only are very expensive for someone to build for you, but the other problem as well is that you look on the bottom and it says nothing guaranteed. Future results can change.
Right.
So I'll look at someone's plan and I'll be like, well, you paid a lot of money for this, right? And nothing in here is guaranteed.
Right.
And they're like, what? What do you mean? It says I'm going to have this much. I said, that's all hypothetical, right? So, when we sit down with clients, we have a unique thing called a questionnaire. And our questionnaire takes just a few minutes to complete. And it really lets us know, all of you that are out there have your own individual investments, your own individual goals, where you want to be, how much income you need, what are your concerns with taxes, what are you looking for, right? And then we're going to customize 2 or 3 plans. Not just one, 2 or 3. One of them may include a little bit more risk, a little bit more casino action, right? You can hopefully make a little bit more money long term. One of them may be more guarantees, maybe through a life insurance company that gives you some types of downside protection or losses you don't lose, right, if the markets go down. So maybe a portion of your money could be invested there. And then maybe a portion is more guaranteed. So we're going to give all of those options to you. You're going to review those. We're going to go through each individual page. And you as the client are going to say, gosh, I feel the most comfortable with this one, right? Or Glenn, I don't mind shooting for the fences. Right, I'm going to go for that plan over there that can hopefully get me more money down the road, more investment income, right? So it's all a matter of building that plan that is customized to the client. Many of you out there don't have customized plans. They're cookie cutter plans, right?
Yeah,
You
the
literally
one-size-fits-all approach, right?
One size fits all, right? You put in how much money you have, your age, and they put together a plan and you get it, and you're like, I just paid a lot of money for this. We don't believe you should charge for those kind of things, because for us, it's a matter of just having my staff take that questionnaire, which is complete when we give it to them. And if I don't have a complete questionnaire, if I'm missing some little box of what your taxes are, or future income needs are, if I don't fill in those boxes, my staff yells at me, okay? Because they're responsible for building those plans that we share to clients that we are obligated to fulfill. What we say, our recommendations are very, very important. And as an independent fiduciary, we take responsibility for our recommendations, right? So we're going to share 2 or 3 ideas. You're going to take it home. You're going to pick what you feel is the best for you and your family. And we don't charge for it. And the main thing that always really blows me away is how many folks are calling in for this and taking advantage of it. People, you're sitting out there. Sometimes you could be procrastinating. You're sitting there watching us. We pop on for a little bit here and there. You're like, yeah, I watch a show all the time. Like I always say, here it is. Pick up your phone, click it, get in the QR code, schedule a time, give us a phone call. We're not going to bite, okay? We're going to look over what you have. We're going to share some great ideas with you. But the blessings come from folks that come in that actually become clients. And then year after year after year, they just come in the office. We give them a big hug. We have a fresh cup of coffee. It's right there in Tampa. Has a big, beautiful oak trees all around my office. It's just glass building. It's beautiful. And we sit down and we just laugh. We joke. We kid. And I always say, hey, remember that plan we worked with to build together for you? By the way, the market's been so volatile. That portion of your money is down a little bit. But guess what? That other big chunk over here is protected.
Yes.
right?
Right.
And this is going to come back, but it's nice to know that you have a big chunk protected instead of all of your eggs
In one basket.
in the casino basket, which
Right.
is a stock market.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's the key, right? We're not talking about putting all of your money into one of these products that's fully protected from stock market
You can't do
volatility.
that. Yeah.
But once you know that your income need is protected, that frees you up to really enjoy your retirement.
Yeah.
And the thing about the money that might be more volatile in the stock market is you only lock in a loss if you withdraw money from that account
Yep.
when it is down. So that's the key. When you have these different buckets, then that allows you to have an in-depth withdrawal strategy so that you don't have to lock in those losses, right?
Absolutely.
To depend on it for income.
Absolutely. And we talked about in the markets, I'm not saying everything is a risk, right? But it really is, right? Depends on what type of equities you own. Are they small cap companies? Are they mid cap companies? Do you even know what those are, folks? Or are they large cap companies? You've heard of the S&P 500, right? These are
Yep.
large cap companies. How many people have heard of Microsoft? You ever heard of Apple?
Right.
Right. I got an
Google.
Apple phone over here. Good luck getting service if you go in, right?
Right.
Right. These companies are doing very well, right? So in a lot of cases, but if I own a company that I don't even know its name, right? It has a lot more risk, and your portfolio is more in those mid and small cap companies. That's a lot riskier than the large cap companies, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right. If I own bonds, right, and those bonds are fluctuating based on interest rates, right, and I could lose value in those. Why am I paying a fee to an advisor to put me in those, right? So there's a lot of alternatives that you need to look at, you need to consider. And really what we do is we open your eyes, because many of you out there have absolutely no idea how any of this stuff works, and you want to learn.
Yes.
Right? You're watching the show right now because you're wanting to learn, right? And we want to teach you. Let us teach you the strategies that many, many folks use that truly become wealthy in a lot of cases, because just diversifying a few different areas could really improve your overall retirement long term. It really can.
Yeah.
So sit down, let's get together, let's have a good time. Give us a phone call, set up a Zoom. Don't be afraid to call in today. We'd love to meet with you.
Wonderful,
Yeah, we'd love
Glenn.
to.
Thank you so much. To our viewers at home, that number to call to schedule your time to come in and claim your complimentary written financial plan is there for you on the bottom of your screen. 888-503-7408. Or again, if you'd rather connect online, simply scan that QR code and that will get you connected as well. When we come back, I'm going to ask Glenn to share some real world stories of folks who've been able to help navigate through everything we've been talking about today. Stay with us. We'll be back.
So you have a 401k with a former employer. Great, fantastic. You know, that means you've been able to accumulate some wealth, it's growing. But the problem is you don't have a lot of investment options that may be available to you, except for what's in that 401k. So what's the best option that we see in a lot of cases? For clients to simply roll that over. No taxes, they simply roll that over to another IRA if you have an IRA account. And once that money rolls over, you can look at other options that may be available that you're not even aware of. Sit down with a professional, someone that can help you look over that 401k and either stay in the current plan or look to roll that over to where you may have better options that may help improve your retirement in the future. Look at reducing those taxes, look at getting a great income plan. That's something our company loves to do for folks. We'd love to share them with you. Please give us a call today.
Welcome back to the Big Money Show, where today Glenn and I have been discussing this whole concept of zero is the hero, winning by not losing. Again, we've been sharing with you some strategies for how you can protect a portion of that wealth, that lump sum you've accumulated in retirement, so that your retirement is not subject to, as Glenn says, the world's largest casino, otherwise known as the stock market. And Glenn, I know this is a very timely conversation. A lot of folks are nervous because so far this year we've had a lot of market volatility.
Yeah.
I know you have no shortage of stories of real world examples of folks you've helped navigate through everything we've talked about today. What comes to the top of your mind?
You know, what comes at the top of my mind is a client that diversified, right? So they took half their money and put it into a fixed indexed annuity contract, right? That in the last year, right, had done pretty well. So, you know, it made a little over 8.5% locked in, right? And at the date that that locked in, right, the markets had started to drop. They were taking their income from the market side of their investments, right? So they were a little nervous, and they said, Glenn, I don't know if we should take that big lump sum. We were planning on taking a chunk out for this upcoming trip, right? We're using this for more of our travel and future retirement, money. They already had a pension and Social Security. Their main bills were already protected and covered. But this chunk of money went down. And I said, well, hang on a second. While this is down, we don't want to take money from this. This will come back, we hope, right? None of us can guarantee the future, but equities generally, especially the large cap companies, the bigger ones, they're going to come back, right? So instead of taking that trip money from this side of your investments, we've diversified your money over here into this side that earned 8% return, locked it in, right? And of course, it depends on the contract you choose. All of them have different options, right?
Right.
But they locked in that gain. That's where they took their income from. And now, as of today, this value has gone back up. So it's a balancing act. Right? But it's a balancing act that we can control the balancing act, because if we know a portion of our money is never going to lose anything due to the markets, that's a really nice thing to feel. When the clients come in the office and they're like, gosh, we can still travel, go on our trips. We don't have to pull it from this account and bring it down further, right? We can just take it from this account that never loses based on market conditions. That's a very powerful thing.
Oh, for sure. You don't want your retirement, and most importantly, your lifestyle in retirement, to be determined by things you cannot control.
Yes.
And yet when all people have is money in the stock market, they don't realize how much they could stand to lose. So again, this has been a really helpful, informative conversation. I know it's brought up some questions for folks. I know that some people might have listened to the conversation specifically around those fixed index annuities and said, hey, this sounds too good to be true. What would you say to someone who's wrestling with that very thought right now?
I would say there's a lot of different contracts that are out there, including fixed index contracts. The key is sit down with an independent fiduciary, sit down with someone that's going to try to seek the highest caps, which means you can earn the highest interest earnings. You want to get into a plan that hopefully doesn't have a lot of fees or any fees at all. And you want to have a contract that has free withdrawal provisions so you can have access to your money to enjoy it in retirement.
For sure. I think bottom line is not all things are created equal, and really the best thing someone can do is come in and sit down in the financial planning environment and see what would be right for them.
See what's available.
Yes, for sure. Well, Glenn, thank you so much, and thank you to all of you for watching today. Again, we encourage you to reach out and schedule your time to come in and claim your complimentary written financial plan. You can do so by calling 888-503-7408 or by clicking the QR code you see below. Thanks again for watching. We appreciate you being here, and we look forward to being back with you next time here on The Big Money Show.